moving on. So this is our disclaimer. It's basically saying that we're not giving you any buy, sell, hold recommendations. Everything that we talk about in this webinar is for educational purposes only. You will get a recording of this webinar. So if you want to go back and watch it, be my guest. So my name is David Kushner, and I've been trading the markets for over 25 plus years, right? I've traded stocks, I trade options, stock options, futures, Forex. My background was that I had an automotive parts business that I started when I was 18 years old, had that business for over 28 years, sold it in 2005, and since then, I've been a full-time trader. So before I get started, I want to explain my journey, right? So like most of you, you probably have a whole shelf of indicators, trading systems that came with a lot of empty promises of helping you become more profitable and more consistent trader. So I probably have over the years 3 or 4 hard drives full of stuff that was totally useless. Okay. So when I saw the webinar that Mark S did, and I saw the money flow tracker system, I realized that this methodology isn't based around the same old indicators that everybody else teaches, but more based on mathematical modeling and triple and quadruple screen analysis. And I will explain what that is a little bit later. And now I only trade with institutional money flow. So when I say money flow or order flow, from this point on, I'm only talking about institutional money flow or order flow. And it's made me much more profitable and much more consistent. And now I'm running over a 70% win-loss rate. Hold on a second. I need to shut my speaker off here because I don't need to hear that. Okay. All right. Okay, swap. Okay, so the agenda for this webinar is, and I'd like to keep it an hour. I'm very passionate. I love trading. I love teaching traders, and I can get a little carried away. So, so the money flow tracker, this is the agenda, how the money flow tracker software works, the high probability setups, the unbreakable rules to follow, how I trade breakouts and sidestep losing trades, the money flow tracker auto trader, and how to pass the evaluations and become a funded trader. And I just need to make myself a quick little note here. Need a piece of paper. You know, you can never find a piece of paper when you need it. Okay. See. All right. All right. So those who spend to the end of this webinar, it's about 45 minutes. I have a very special discount plus additional software as a quick action bonus. And we have a really great deal for you guys. Anyways, so why are you here? Well, you're not here to waste time, and neither am I. And you're not here to waste your money. And you're sick of buyer's remorse. So what do I mean by that? Sick of buyer's remorse. Well, you buy a system, you trade with it, you do well with it the first few weeks or month or so, whatever it is, and then you hit that proverbial losing streak where you might have 3 or 4 trades in a row lost, and maybe you had a couple losing days. And then all of a sudden, the system that was giving you great results is now a piece of crap, and you're going to go look for the next system. Well, you're not going to have to do that here. All right. I have been trading with this software for the last 5 years. And in that 5 years, my trading has been so much better than it ever was as far as day trading, right? So you say, show me a solution, David. All right, your solution is you want to hit consistent winning trades. Now, not every trade is going to be a winning trade. All right? I'm not going to tell you that you're going to have 99.9% winning trades because, first of all, nobody has 99.9% winning trades. It's impossible. And I'm not going to tell you something that's not true. but you want a solid performance that repeats daily. Now, the markets are here for us to extract money from it every day. Now, do we extract money every day from the market? No. Okay. But I'll explain why we don't extract money every day from the market. All right. So let's get into it. You need four things to create a trading success. So the first thing you need is software that will provide you with a competitive edge over all other traders. Second thing is that edge needs to track the direction of money flow, institutional money flow. John B., you will get a replay. The third thing is etched-in-stone rules to follow, and this will eliminate discretion. And the fourth thing, which is the most important of all of the things, is patience. Patience to let the trade set up. All right. So let's break down the system in detail, and I'm going to go a little quick, you know. So before we get started, let me show you a couple of trades that we've taken. Here's a trade. Here's an option trade on AMC for 139%. Here's an option trade on GME for 188%. I just used the daily chart and set up the indicator to give me a signal on a daily chart for these type of trades. Here's a trade on 30-year bonds. Now this was 41 ticks at 31.25 a tick. It's $1,281. Right? Now, I would have liked to hold this overnight because it gave me another 50 ticks, which this trade would have been about almost $3,000. But when you trade with prop firms, you have to be out of the market before the end of the day. All right, here's a trade on the euro. You know, I can sit here and show you chart after chart, but that's not going to help you. And I'm here to help you, right? So from the poll, it's likely you have a problem making money. Why? Because you don't have the proper tools to efficiently manage your trades. You overtrade, you revenge trade, and you make impulsive decisions. How many of you people do that or have done that? I've done it. I used to do it. I don't do it anymore. I probably haven't done it for, well, at least 5 years since I've been trading with the software. You lack consistency. You trade with indicators that lag price. And you also lack a mathematical proven methodology. And all these things lead to blowing up trading accounts. So my commitment to you for coming to this webinar is to bring it to an end. So why do they say 95 to 98% of traders that use the following go broke? Because none of these things have any future predictive properties. Now, I am not, and I'm going to repeat, I am not saying that the money flow tracker software can predict the future. Because first of all, that's kind of ridiculous because nobody can predict the future. Not even Miss Cleo was able to predict the future, right? So, you know, it gives you very high probability setups. So Mark S. had over 35 plus years in the field of applied mathematics. And he was a professor at Jefferson University. And after 8 long years, he engineered the software system and trade methodology that improve your trade performance. And we have over 500 traders between our 3 trade rooms that we trade shoulder to shoulder every day. So before we get started, I would like to share with you my trade journal. This is my personal trade journal. I use this program. I'm going to show last year's because we only have 4 weeks of data for January, right? So every day I do my performance report and I click on trades and then I download all my trades from NinjaTrader into an Excel sheet. And then every day I just click on this button and I import them. Where is it? And I import them right into NinjaTrader, right? So if you look here in the journal part, where it shows all the trades, come on. Why isn't it moved? Let's see. Let's try to reload this. Maybe it's slow. All right, so let's go. When you go to the journal, you can see it gives you your entry date and time, the instrument, everything. It gives you the trade ID from NinjaTrader, right? So look, we were running a 75.646 win rate with a profit factor of 2.65, which means for every dollar we're risking, we've made $2.65, right? So if you go back and you look, like for instance, I don't know, let's look at November, right? You see a lot of blank days here, right? First of all, I didn't trade this whole week because I had a death in the family, right? So I didn't trade this whole week. And we didn't trade the Friday, Thursday, and Friday after Thanksgiving. So how many days didn't we trade? One, two, five makes seven, two more makes nine, 10 days. 10 out of 20 days we did not trade. And what did we do in November of last year? $11,552. And this is what we did by the week. The first week we did 3,400. The second week we did 1,000, and the third week we did 7,000. Right? So, normally when I do these webinars, I'll go back like any month, whatever. Let's go September. And the reason why we have days here that we didn't trade is because we didn't have setups, and the markets were really choppy and low volume. So we know institutions weren't trading, and we didn't get any setups. And the thing is that if the software will keep you out of choppy, non-trending markets, which those are the markets that you tend to lose the most money, right? So if I go here and I look at my daily performance by day, and this only goes back 6 months, right? Well, you can see, look at all the winning days that we've had. This day here was amazing, right? But look at the losing days: 290, 365, 395, 496. But we keep our losing days. When I'm down 500 for the day, we stop trading. Okay? Here is my equity curve for last year, right? $93,000. So I wanted to share this because I wanted you to see that you don't have to trade every day. And this also gives me a performance by day. So Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday is usually a slow day. Thursday is usually pretty good. Fridays are okay. It helps me keep my stats so I know how I am doing trading. All right, so let's keep going. So the markets consist of many small retail traders representing by these marbles, plus one or more large institutional traders. So since we know that most retail traders lose money, why would you want to trade along with them? We don't. We trade when the institutions are moving the market. We follow them. Right? So the money flow tracker software has three key metrics. The first one is triple screen assessment of correlative market using our AI software. The second one is triple screen assessment of order flow. And the third one is triple screen assessment of the Laguerre for momentum. Now, what do I mean by triple screen assessment? Well, I find that keeping terminology really simple, people learn quicker and better. So I'm going to use my terminology: 3 time frames in agreement. Triple screen assessment means that you're assessing 3 time frames and they're in agreement. That's what it means. So the first powerful force is triple screen assessment of order flow. So I know most people, when you start thinking about order flow, they start thinking about these candles with all these numbers on the inside right, inside left, outside right, bottom, top. You cannot make heads or tails of what's going on in these candles, even though it's giving you the colors of the candles and all that other, right? It's impossible for your brain to be able to analyze these candles, pick the numbers when the markets are moving fast. So we came up with Right Line Trading's order flow candles. And like I said before, keeping things simple is the best way people learn. I've taught thousands of traders how to trade. So our candles, we took away all the numbers. And when you have a green background, means the delta of that candle is positive. And a red background means the delta of the candle is negative. So when I'm trading, I don't care about delta, smelta. I don't care about any of that. When I look at this candle with a green outline, I'm saying to myself, I got more buyers than sellers in this candle. If I have a candle with a red outline, I know that I have more sellers than buyers in this candle. And just keep it simple. So if you're long the market, you want to see green outline candles. And if you're short, you want to see red ones. So triple screen assessment of order flow means order flow is going the same direction on 3 time frames. So I also put a screenshot of what our charts look like because they're very simple. They're very easy to learn. They're very clear. All our indicators are represented by these colored lines below. And it's just a lot easier. You don't need 3 charts up to know what's going on. A green background means we have 3 time frames in agreement going long. A dark pink background would be the opposite, going short. So I don't need to look at 4 charts and see what's going on in 3 of them. So the second thing that moves price is triple screen assessment of the Laguerre and the hybrid candles. So again, you want to see the Laguerre going in the same direction on 3 time frames. And the hybrid candles, which include the wicks. Now we are the only company was able to program the wicks inside of a Renko bar. So when you have a wick that opens from the previous candle's close, goes up the bar size and closes, and the next candle opens up the same way, and the next candle opens up the same way, these are momentum candles. This candle here, pullback candle. All right? We use these candles to our benefit. All right, so let me go ahead and erase all this, and let's keep going. Now, we developed what we call the modified Laguerre. And what we did is we took all these indicators, and we added an algorithm that was developed by our AI software. And we developed what we call the modified Laguerre. Now, it does not show divergence like other oscillators, but it only shows strength of trend. So, and it's represented by this bottom colored line. So when it crosses below 20, it will turn red. When it crosses above and is sloping up, it'll be lime green. When it crosses above 80, it'll be dark green. And it was sloping down below 80, it will be orange. Ultimately, we want to see this pinned at 100 or pinned at 0. So we get what we call our acceleration dot. All right, any questions? I know Rory's been answering a bunch of them, but any questions so far? All right, let's keep going. Now, the quant lines are the third most powerful force that moves price. Why? Well, they're taking 28 market components and they're being examined by our AI system correlation. Now, most people know what correlation means. The word itself tells you what it is, correlated. You know, the markets, when you have markets that are correlated, it's very powerful. And most people don't pay attention to it, but we do because we know how powerful it is. So if you're in, let's say, ES long and NQ is going up, YM's going up, RTY is going up, that is only going to help your trade. It's like the old saying, a rising tide floats all boats. Well, it's kind of the same in the markets. When you have all the indexes going in the same way, that's very powerful. So what we decided was, you know what, 3 time frames in agreement is not enough to really have a trend in place. So we added another time frame, and we added that with an indicator that we call the C2. Now, all it does is just adds another time frame. So if you're trading time charts, they're in multiples of 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 3 is 18, 18 times 3 would be your C2 indicator parameter. Now, we trade with Unirenko bars, so we use range bars for our higher time frames. And the C2 is displayed on the chart by this stair-stepping line above the candles, green going up and red going down. So let's put it all together, right? The money flow tracker, the rules and the setups. Rule number 1, and pay attention to the rules because I'm going to quiz you on this in a couple more slides when we get into something else. Colored background means you have 3 time frames in agreement. You want 4 time frames in agreement, so you want to have the C2 indicator, right? The next thing is we have a dot dash line and we have a solid line. You want the solid line above the dot dash line going up and below going down. Now, if you run into support or resistance via pivot, higher time frame support resistance, the VWAP, whatever it is, okay, it must break by 3/4 of a bar, must clear that pivot, and then you must wait for a pullback candle. And I'll explain to you why we wait for the pullback candle. So this is the easy part. Both quants must be in agreement. Short term is on top, long term is on the bottom, either red or green. The multiple time frame Laguerre must be in agreement with the quants. And the modified Laguerre must be in agreement with the quants and must be pinned at 0 or 100, so you get your acceleration dots. So this was the setup, and this is the outcome of this trade. Now, we have what we call exit on line change. It gives you an exit strategy. If you're not trailing your stop, okay, you maybe got stopped out on this pullback, right? This candle right here. So the dot dash line, if it changes color from green to orange or red, green to yellow or red to green to yellow, it will exit the trade when that changes. So it keeps you in the trade longer. So this trade was 63 ticks on crude oil is $630 per contract. So I know I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Trading with the money flow tracker rules will keep you out of those choppy, non-trending markets with no direction, with low volume, where most traders lose money. So when I showed you my trade journal and I showed you, the days that we trade, how many days do you see that we have losing days? Not very often, not very much. Why? Because the software is keeping us out of those markets. And remember, it's okay not to trade every day. And I truly believe that if we tried to trade those days that we didn't take any trades, those will all be losing days, right? They would have been losing days. So here is a trade that I took on crude oil. See, the market came down, it broke these pivots. Now, this is a good pullback candle, but it happened so fast I couldn't even place the order. But then I got this one. So it pulled back, I placed my order. First profit target, crude oil, 10 ticks is $100, right? And then we exited on line change for another 55 ticks, right? So that's $550. So this trade here ended up being $650 trade. And you know how long it took? It started at 9:36 and it ended at 9:37. Towards the end of 9:36. And in 1 minute, you made $650. I mean, how can you beat that? All right, let's keep going. All right, let me go back. So, geez, what's going on here? So the money flow tracker software will give you clear and exact entries, clear and exact exits. You could exit on line change, you could trail your stop, and you get all your targets pre-configured and pre-tested in your ATMs. So now I'm going to show you how I trade breakouts with the money flow tracker software, and I call it the pull back and go. So let me grab my pen over here again. So you see the market comes down, it breaks the pivot, the shaded areas, higher time frame support, right? So then we get the pullback candle here, right? So when this candle pulls back about halfway or more, that's when we set our order to sell on down close. So it sells 1 tick below the low of this candle. Now, why do we do that? Well, because most of you probably know when markets go up, they hit resistance. Let's say this is resistance, right? They tend to break it, pull back to it, or they tend to break it or keep going. But a lot of times they tend to break it and then come back down and go back down to the bottom of the range. I'm not a very good artist with the mouse, all right? So What happens if this candle, I'm going to put my order in here. I'm going to put my order here. If this candle closes up, if this candle closes up, this order automatically gets canceled. So you don't know when it breaks support or resistance and comes back and retests it, is it going to go this way, right? Or is it going to continue on like it did here? We don't know that at the time. But we probably get trades like this. We probably sidestep at least, I don't know, 70% of these type of setups. Or not even, 70% isn't a right number. But we get a lot of trades that it depends on the day that we don't get follow through. And I got to tell you, lately, the last week or so, we've only been getting like one profit target on a lot of trades. So you can see how choppy the markets are. So here's another one. Here's one on RTY, broke the pivot, got the pullback, placed the order. First profit target, second profit target. Here's another one on crude oil. Here's two of them on the Canadian dollar. You know, I don't want to show you tons and tons and tons of charts that were profitable trades because, you know, that's not really going to help you. All right. So now let's talk about my favorite subject is the money flow tracker auto trading strategy. It's an algorithm that we developed and it's called the Revolution and we call it Revo for short. So what does it do? Well, it took this trade here for 704 ticks on MNQ. Took this trade here for 665 ticks. Took this trade for 1,016 ticks. This was MNQ. We only trade this particular bar size on MNQ. And it was just one of those days where the market just coming down and down and down and down. Look, started at 9:30 and we got the exit on line change at 1:40. So it's just a very down move. So what does it do? Well, I'm going to open up the strategy because I can tell you the strategy better on the strategy window than I can in a screenshot. So it's called Revo. Revo STR means Revo strategy. So I am just going to load one of my templates. And it doesn't matter whichever one. It does, just do this one here. All right. So bias in C2. What was the first rule I said? What was the first thing we're looking for when we take a trade? Can somebody tell me? Are you paying attention? Anybody? Right, colored background. So the bias, we always want to trade with the bias, and we always want to trade with the C2. So we have 4 time frames in agreement. So we turn it on. Now, we want the Laguerre to be either red or green. We want the modified multiple time frame Laguerre to be red or green, right? These are just colors of the moving averages, whatever, red or green. We want the criteria off the trend signal and the MA diff signal, we don't want to trade above 350. So what is the MA diff? The MA diff is telling us how far from, this is the 50, right? How far is price from the 50, right? How far is it? We have certain numbers for certain bar sizes. And when the MA diff gets too high, we expect a pullback candle within the next couple of bars. And we get that pullback candle pretty regular unless we have one of those like runaway markets, right? So then we go down here and we say we want to clear pivots. We want to clear volume zones and we want the quants to be red or green. So this is the pivot. If the, oh, and then the first target. Now the first target is very important. Why? Because if you have, let's say you only have 50 ticks to here and you have a setup, it won't take the trade. You need to have at least 81 ticks. Our first target is 80, but it needs to go 81, right? It won't take the trade. It will wait until it breaks the pivot or whatever the obstruction is, right? So that's built into the software. And we're not using, any of this. It has built-in money management. We have lots of people that subscribe to the software that still have jobs, and they just trade this particular strategy, and they turn it on, and they set it to go on. There is a setting here where you can say go on or off. Where is it? Where is it? Probably going too fast. Oh, it's global parameters. Okay. So you can say I want it to go on at 9:30, go off at 12. So it'll go off and on. But the money management, which people that still have jobs, they set it up like this. And they turn it on before they go to work. And either they're going to make $1,000 or more. Now, if you're up $1,500 in a trade, it's not going to close at 1,000, but it won't take another trade. And the max they could lose is 500 for the day. So either they're going to come home, they're either going to have a profit, they're going to have a loss, or they're not even going to have a trade for the day. Okay? It has trade management, and what else? And it has exit at the session close. So this has been a very profitable strategy. Here are the equity curves. This was for 2021. This was 2022. I lost all my data in 2023. So I don't have that. But I have last year's, 2024. Look what it did last year. I mean, in 2024, it did roughly $43,000. I guess I should put 2025 up here too. But all right. So I want to show you it working because I was in this trade and it hit my profit target like within a minute. And it usually doesn't do that. It usually takes, a couple minutes or whatever when the market's going up and gyrating up and down, up and down, up and down. But this one hit it like really quick. So I turned on my recorder real quickly and I wanted to record it because I wanted to share it because I felt like this was going to be one of those really like monster type trades. So look, we missed getting stopped out by a couple ticks. I'm just going to go fast forward. So we're up 104 ticks. We're up 298 ticks. I'm going to make this full screen. It's easier for you to see. There we go. We're up 325 ticks. Now, the MA diff, I'm going to pause this for a second. The MA diff is displayed right here. MA diff. We have it now on a chart. We have it over here on the right side. So let me go ahead and, all right, let me move this out of the way. So when you see the MA diff, in this particular case, we don't trade above 350, which means that when the MA diff starts getting higher, I start moving my stop. So it's at 402 ticks. The MA diff is really pretty much at the max. Now it's more, right? I start moving my stop closer to the market, right? Now we're up 423 ticks. We're up 569 ticks. Now the MA diff is really high. I'm moving my stop closer and closer to the market because I'm expecting a pullback within the next couple of candles. So there we go. We're up 578 ticks, 570 ticks. We're out, right? And then look what happens. We're getting a color change, background color change. This move is pretty much over. So look at it this way, 570 ticks. That means that we had, this was on MNQ. So we took, on the first target, we took $80, right? The second target, we took $570. We only traded 4 micros. So again, $650 on this trade. And I didn't do anything except turn it on. I turn it on every morning. And this has been very, very profitable strategy. Look, anybody that traded in 2024, they made $43,000 just on this strategy. All right, so let's keep going because I want to spend time with some other stuff. Why I want this? Okay, so look, now how to pass the evaluation. So I have 2 friends of mine. My friend John works as a floor trader and my friend Steve works as a brokerage firm. And my friend John said to me, I asked him, how do floor traders trade? How do professional traders trade? So he says, honestly, he says they focus on their process. They never worry about how much money they can make. They worry about how much money they could lose. And he said to me, he said, you might think this is crazy, but if you focus on trading well, trade your system the way it was meant to be designed, okay, and you focus on your risk, your profits will take care of themselves. So I started doing it, and honestly, it works. You know, I take it. If I take a loss, okay, I took a loss. I don't freak out. I don't start saying, "Oh, this system sucks." Start looking for, the throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? If you focus on trading well, like I said, the profits will take care of themselves. You know, uh, challenges or valuations or whatever they're called these days, gladiators, warriors, this, I don't know. Anyway, they're really designed to make you fail. Why? Because like how many trading days to pass? I had a gentleman in my room. He says for the last 2 months, he worked hard. He just traded a few micros. He went just about ready to pass his evaluation account, his first one. And he says, I only need to make $100 today to pass my evaluation. He says, my evaluation account is going to have, my subscription is renewing tomorrow, but I don't want to have to pay another month. I only need to make 100. He asked me, what should I do? I said, trade micros and pay the evaluation fee. It was 90% off when you got it. So what's it, like $20? That was ridiculous. So anyways, he didn't listen to me and he blew the account and he had to start all over again, right? And the next thing is the trailing drawdown. That's the biggest reason why most traders fail. So this is my risk per trade, and this is what I do. If you sign up for a 50K account, most of the time your drawdown is 2,500. So my process is I don't risk any more than 10% of my drawdown on any one trade. So my max risk on every trade is $250, period. So if I'm trading a 40 tick stop on uh, NQ, I can't trade NQ because that's $200 per contract risk. So I trade 6 micros and keeps me with my risk parameter. And it helps me that way. Your win rate versus your risk reward. If you're a one-to-one trader, you need to be 60% win rate to be profitable. Now, if you're a 2-to-1 trader, you could be wrong 6 out of 10 trades and still make money. If you're a 3-to-1 trader, you only need to be profitable 30% of the time, which means you could lose 7 out of 10 trades and still make money. So me, I'm right in between the 2-to-1 and 3-to-1, more on the 3-to-1 side, but my win rate is way over 60%. So I don't worry about this, but I wanted to share it with you. Like this mouse. Now this mouse said thinking, gee, I want that piece of cheese. I could taste it already, but what is my risk here? My risk is if I hit this thing too hard, the mousetrap is going to get me. So what does he do? He puts on his helmet. So rather than avoid risk, take intelligent risk, and this will give you the competitive edge that you need. Now, before I get to this part, I want to go back here because I failed to explain something on the auto traders. We are trading now mostly in the room the Revo strategy on all the markets. And why are we doing this? We're doing this because, first of all, automation is much more efficient. And if you think, my friend Steve said to me, he said, Dave, you think that we're sitting here pushing buttons and making trades and this all day long? He says, not a chance. He says, we trade with algorithms. That's what we do. What we do is we sit and monitor them, make sure that everything's going fine. He said, It's almost impossible sometimes. I would be looking at a setup, and I'm just ready to just move my mouse over to click on sell on up close or sell on down close or whatever, and the market has already moved so far away from me I can't even do it. So if you because they're trading with automation, we're trading with automation because it's much more efficient and it doesn't miss trades. And there were trades that we were in where it got in so fast and hit our profit target so quick that it would have been impossible for me to trade it manually. Right? So, and we're getting some really good results. And it's less stressful and much more efficient trading. So now you have two choices. You can do, if you're profitable and you're making money, then just continue on your current path. But I would imagine that most of you are here are struggling. And believe me, I'm going to tell you a little story. I was a struggling trader for many, did I say many? Many years. And when I started trading with the money flow tracker software, it totally turned my trading around. Why? Because it has rules and it's a rule-based system. And just because we're trading with an algorithm now, right? All we're doing is telling the algorithm, hey, we want the bias in the C2. We want this to be red, green, whatever. It's the rules I already went over that the algorithm is taking the trades according to the rules that we set up. Okay? And it's been working very well. Now, it doesn't wait for the pullback handle. It's the only thing that it does not do. So what I set up in the strategy is, and I'll just load my template really quick so I can show you. What I set up in the strategy was that it delays the signal by 1 bar. So the whole candle has to clear the pivot or clear whatever support or resistance. All right. So the money flow tracker trading system, the benefits and the features, easy to learn. You get all the workspaces, you get all the templates, you get everything you need. It's perfect for beginners. I wish I had this when I first started day trading 20 years ago, right? It's perfect for any account size. I have traders in the room that just trade a few micros, and they're happy with that. I have one guy in my room, he trades anywhere from 200 to 300 contracts at a time. I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it. If I was in a trade at 200 contracts and I was down a few ticks, I'd probably have a heart attack, but he does it all the time and he's used to it and he's happy and he's comfortable with that. You can trade futures, you can trade Forex, you can trade stocks, you can trade crypto, you can use stock signals to trade options. So you can trade it on any market. So what we're doing is for the first 10 traders that come aboard, okay, we're giving some powerful additional software as a quick action bonus. So the first thing you'll get is the market scanner, which is a $9.99 value. I'm going to bring mine down here because, we trade certain bar sizes, like on gold, on the 41020 bar. It's saying what we had to sell. So what? I have a gold chart right here. Gold was nuts today. So look at the gold chart. This is like crazy here, right? It was red. And it stopped being red at 1947.32. And it's like 6 seconds. Look at these. This move is very quick. Look, from here, all the way down to here is 1 second. All these candles formed in 1 second. But we did have the red background. So it's not telling you that you have a trade. It's telling you that you have the colored background. Go look at it, see if you have a setup. That's what it's telling you. The next thing you'll get is the NDT. Now, this is what we use, and I'll show it to you. to enter trades. Let me just load a template here real quick. I don't care whichever one. Right? So it looks like that, just like the picture. I just enabled it. I'm waiting for it to pop up. I don't know where it is. Popped up somewhere. Oh, okay. Anyway, this is what you use. Sell, buy on up close, sell on down close on down close on up close. You put your ATM in here. This is where your everything goes. All right. This is a $14.99 value. You will get that as part of your package. You'll get the Masterclass series on Forex futures, stocks, and options. They're very good. I've watched them a few times. You get 1 month in my trade room. Now, our trading rooms were done part of a study that was done maybe 5 years ago or so, 4 years ago, by this Dr. Allen. And he did a study and he reviewed more than 225 trading websites, evaluated them using several factors, including transparency, proven track record, and assisting traders with educational materials and online support. And we came out on top. Now, this was published in Traders World and Stock and Commodities Magazine. And this is our special offer that we're doing. We're doing 50% off a quarterly membership, which would be $597. All right. We were giving you 50% off an annual membership, comes out to $11.96. That's less than $100 a month. If you want a lifetime membership, it's $19.96, and that's 50% off of our normal price. It's not 50% off of $19.96. Okay, it's 50% off our normal price. This is the code to get the 50% off. Okay, now if you want to purchase, I know a few people already put in there that they want to purchase. Go to your chat window. In your GoToWebinar control panel on the very bottom, it says chat. Click on that. There's a link in there, right? And it opens up, and all you need to do is scroll down to the bottom and pick what you want. If you want an annual subscription, just click sign up. It's using the coupon code is SAVE50 and the percent sign. Right? So I have a coupon code. Click here. Save 50%, and it will apply. Right? You go down here on the bottom. Normal price was $23.92. 50% is $11.96. Your total is $11.96. And when you renew in 2027, it will be $11.96 again. So you're not going to be paying for the first year and then double that for the second year or whatever. It's going to be the same price as you paid when you subscribe. And you will get the money flow tracker. You will get it installed by Rory. You get the Auto Trader, the NDT, the Masterclass, and 1 month in the prep room. So go ahead over there, click on that link. In the chat window, there's also the coupon code. So you can go over there now if you want. And is this the same spot? No, it's not, John. This is totally different. Okay, so this is my commitment to you, is when you subscribe to the Money Flow Tracker software, is to help you become a successful trader. Remember, if you're not successful, it's not your fault, right? Again, if you're not successful, it's not your fault. You're just not using the right tools to be successful. You know, I feel bad for a lot of people because they've been scammed by a lot of people in this industry that are scrupulous and have no ethics or morals, okay? So what do I mean by it's not your fault? Well, you know, it's like trying to pound a nail into a piece of wood with a screwdriver. Yeah, if you sit there long enough with it, you'll get it in. But if you use the right tool, okay, a couple shots with the hammer and it's done. And trading is no different. Do you want to trade with retail traders like you've probably been trading all this time and have the brokers and everything just take your money and blow your accounts all this time? No, you don't. You know, The money flow tracker software is totally unique and will give you that edge to trade with institutional order flow. So again, my commitment is not just to teach you how to read the setup. Look, the setups is the easiest part to trade, but also help you develop that mental mindset you must have in order to achieve financial independence. So what do I mean by this? Look, I can teach anybody to read the setup. Those are the easy part, right? But let's say you have a trade and it's a losing trade. You can't get all pissed off and all upset and let your trading mindset, you know, go in all different directions. You just got to forget about it. It's one trade, okay? It's just one trade. Let's say you have two losing trades in a row. Okay, well, maybe the markets are just choppy and not giving you anything. You know, taking losses is part of the business. If you think about this business compared to a regular conventional business, you don't have rent, you don't have employees, you don't have insurance, you don't have electric, you don't have phone, you don't have anything. All you have is an internet connection and a brokerage account. That's it. So your losses, the way I look at losses is losses are part of your expenses in your business. That's what they are. You're going to have losses. And I've known people that they get pissed off, throw their mouse across the room, break their keyboard. That's just totally not good trading. So hold on a second. Rory's just sending me a message here. And he's telling me, he says, I want you to welcome Celia, Blake, Brock, Tim, Janice, and Terry to the Money Flow Tracker software and the room. And I really appreciate all you guys, and I'll do everything in the room possible to help you get to the goals you want to set. All right, so welcome aboard, and let me keep on going here. Now, John, what do you mean by guarantee? Nothing is 100% guaranteed. Okay, I can't say that you're going to make every trade is going to be a winning trade, but nothing is 100% guaranteed. So if you have questions and you want to speak with us, Rory just said to me, anybody that would put their name and their phone number, we will give them a call after the webinar. You can ask as many questions as you want, and you're under no obligation, and we're not going to call you 50 times and bother you. If you say no, you're not interested, well, you know what? Okay, let's leave on part with friends. Maybe you'll be interested another day. All right? So it's a well-known fact that 95 to 98% of day traders and swing traders are losing money, just like this guy. So I told you, my friend Steve works at a brokerage firm, right? He says to me, he says, Dave, he says, you know that retail traders, all they do is basically lose money. He says, we get people that open up an account with 5,000, 10,000, whatever. He says, and we see them, those accounts just get blown out, and they just lose their money. Like, we call them the guppies. Believe it or not, the brokers call retail traders guppies. I don't consider myself a retail trader. People ask me, Dave, what do you do for a living? I said, I'm an institutional trader. Well, what's that? I said, I trade with institutions. That's what I do, period. Right? But not our traders. Why? Because our traders are making money. They're trading along with the institutional trader. So when the retail trader is losing money and flushing it, who is taking it? If you have a trade, for every trade, there's a winner and a loser. Do you want to be this guy or do you want to be this guy? Well, we trade with institutional money flow. Doesn't mean that we never have losing trades, okay? But we trade when they're trading. So again, this is our offer that we're doing. $597 for quarterly membership, $1196 for annual, and $1996 for lifetime. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm just going to tell you just the way it is, because some people just need to hear the way it is. if you're going to sign up, and if you want to be a successful trader, you have to commit to one system, one methodology, something simple, something easy to follow, something that will keep you out of the markets when the markets are low volume and choppy. Okay? That's what you need to be a successful trader. So I recommend that everybody commit to it. Say, and this is what I did 5 years ago. I was watching a webinar just like you are listening to me. And I'm listening to Mark and I'm seeing everything he's explaining to me. And I'm saying to myself, this is a system that I could follow and I could learn very easy. So I said to myself, this is the last money that I will spend on any trading system. If I can't be committed 110% to one system that I know works, right, then I shouldn't be a trader. So if you're going to subscribe, and I recommend you do the same thing. Say, hey, you know what? It's January, the beginning of 2026. I really want this year to be my year where I become a successful trader, where I could take money out of the market, right? Pass my prop firm valuations, become a funded trader, right? Be committed to it. Say that I am going to learn this system inside and out, and I am going to make this work for me, and I am not going to spend another dime. I'm going to trade with this the whole year. And if you have problems or you need help, you just come to me and I will help you. All right? I will guarantee I will help you. Now, I'm not sitting on the other side pushing the button, but I will help you any way that I can. So I'm going to cut it a little shorter tonight because I'm getting a little, but I want to explain to you this particular woman. She had a friend in my trading room. And in my trading room, she wanted him to teach her how to trade with the money flow tracker software. And he said, look, why don't you contact Mark over at Rightline and he'll teach you what you need to learn. And he didn't want to because he didn't want to be responsible if she didn't make it. Well, anyways, to make a long story short, Mark sat her down in front of a computer. For 4 months, he taught her the setups. All she did was trade the setups when they presented, right? Now she's a six-figure trader. And I asked her on the phone one day, I said, do you trade every day? And her answer to me was the same thing I tell all my students. If you have no setup, you can't push the button. Here's another guy, Barry, just a review last year. He says, I've been trading for 25 years. I can honestly say the Money Flow Tracker is one of the smartest tools I've added to my toolbox. The layout of a single chart gives me everything I need. Just like I explained to you, the colored background. I know 3 time frames in agreement. Okay, I'm going to just explain this real quick. I'm not going to read it. This was a guy that was in the webinar just like you. He puts in the chat box, he said, I'm the world's worst trader. I suck at trading, but I really like what I see. And if you'll help me, I'm willing to give this my last shot. So I said, okay. So he said he started watching my room every morning and the rules for trading. And we only have specific setups. When you follow rules, we have a 70% win rate. I now have 7 accounts at Apex and 7 accounts at Buell Knox, right? Well, he's got 20 accounts now at Apex. He's got 10 accounts at Buell Knox, and he's got other accounts other places. Then he goes on to saying the Money Flow Tracker software, my methodology, allows him to act like a robot and eliminate guesswork or emotions for my trading. He says, we use the NDT, which I just showed you, which allows a single push button to enter an extra trades when you see the setup. So every day he looks at it as simple. If he sees a setup, he pushes the button. See the setup, push the button. See the setup, push button. A couple of weeks ago, he sent me this in the room. Made $4,265. He only traded 4 accounts that day. He says I could ring the bell. He left the room. Look at the time. He traded for 1 hour and 6 minutes and made $4,265. Unbelievable. Some of my students trade better than me. But I have a lot going on. Running the room, answering questions, and this and that. So this is an opportunity for you to get in on the Money Flow Tracker software, come into the room every day, let me help you, let me help you. Like, what was that from the movie Jerry Maguire? Let me help you. You know, like I said, I've had people come into the room that were struggling traders for years and years and years and years. And within a few months, they totally turned their trading around. Just like that guy David I just showed you. I read his email, right? And I think I'm pretty good, pretty done. So again, if you have any questions, put your name and your phone number in the questions box, and myself or Roy will give you a call after the webinar, and it will keep you locked into getting all the bonuses, even if we go over 10 people. And I got to tell you something. The auto trader, the algorithm, the Revo algorithm is worse than 1196 for the whole year. Just that by itself. I'll show you something. I'm going to show you a couple of charts, and then I'll give you guys opportunity to look at it. We'll look at a chart, a couple of symbols. All right. I don't want to go too far over, but okay. Here's a trade from today. Here's a trade from today. Here's the entry. Okay. This is the 3/4 bar. I have it delayed by 1 bar. It's going to take it 1 tick above here. Right. It went up and exited on line change right there. 286 ticks. Did I say that right? 286 ticks. That's $286 on 2 contracts and $80 on the first profit target. So that's like what, 350 something dollars? And what did this take from 1539? 20 minutes. That's one trade. This is on the MNQ. Here's a trade here. This trade here was a pretty good monster trade. I wasn't trading it at that time. But here's the entry. Color line change. Changed right there. 525 ticks. Okay? I can't prove it anymore. What, anybody have any other markets they want to look at? And I'll look at a couple markets. You tell me what market you want to look at real quick, and we'll look at them for a couple minutes. Anybody? Nobody? I'm going to show you a market. Let's look. Here's gold. This was tonight. Why can't this chart move? I can't move my chart over. Why is that chart? I don't know what's wrong with NinjaTrader. It's just been acting so weird lately. Let me see if I have another one here. That's MNQ. That's the one I just showed. I don't know. My NinjaTrader is just, today has been like a nightmare with it. I can't pull up and, hold on a second. Let's look at this. Oh, I know why that chart is messed up. All right. I can't pull the chart over for some reason. It's not allowing me. I could pull this chart over. Here's MNQ on a smaller time frame. See what we had here. It was just very choppy all day today. This was in the evening. I don't know, something's wrong with my Ninja. It's just acting weird. Well, anyway, all right, everybody. I want to thank you for attending. Thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions, go ahead and put your name in the questions box, and we'll give you a call right after. This is being recorded. You will get a recording. Take advantage of our 50% off sale. You will not be sorry. Okay? You won't be sorry. Look, when I subscribed 5 years ago, I was so hesitant because I didn't know if this was something for me. But when I heard Mark explain what it's doing, and after I spoke to him on the phone, and he explained to me exactly what it's doing and how it was designed, and he uses mathematical modeling along with artificial intelligence, I said, I got to give it a shot. but like I said earlier, I came into it with 110% commitment, and it's paid off. And I've been trading with it for the last 5 years. Here is my trade journal. Here is 2024. We had a great year in 2024. Look what our equity curve was in 2024. We did $122,000 in 2024. Last year, 2025, wasn't as good as 2024, but we still did roughly $93,000. Would you be happy making $93,000? Would you guys, anybody be happy making $93,000? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for attending the webinar. John and Jim, Roy will be giving you a call in a couple minutes. All right. So thank you for attending. Thank you everybody that already signed up. Really